In the scorched badlands of the late 19th century American West, a scientific war was erupting that would forever redefine our understanding of the prehistoric world, driven by ambition and intense personal rivalry. This era, famously known as the Bone Wars, pitted two giants of paleontology against one another, Othniel Charles Marsh of Yale and Edward Drinker Cope of the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. The year was 1877 when Marsh's field crews unearthed massive fossilized remains within the Morrison Formation of Colorado, revealing a creature of such immense scale it defied contemporary biological expectations. Marsh named this new discovery Apatosaurus ajax. The name sounds majestic to the modern ear, yet its etymological roots suggest a peculiar sense of scientific hesitation and morphological trickery. Derived from the Greek words apate, meaning deception, and sauros, meaning lizard, Apatosaurus literally translates to the deceptive lizard, a moniker that hints at a fundamental misunderstanding during its initial classification. The deception Marsh referred to lay in the animal's chevrons, the Y-shaped bones on the underside of the tail, which bore a striking resemblance to those of marine lizards like mosasaurs rather than typical dinosaurs. While Apatosaurus was being established in the scientific literature, the frantic pace of the Bone Wars led to a series of hasty publications and taxonomic errors that would haunt museums for over a century. Just 2 years later, in 1879, Marsh's team discovered another remarkably complete sauropod skeleton in Wyoming, which Marsh believed to be an entirely different and even more massive genus. He christened this second find Brontosaurus excelsus, meaning noble thunder lizard. It was a name that captured the public's imagination like no other, conjuring images of a beast that shook the very earth. However, the pressure to outshine Cope meant Marsh often overlooked the anatomical similarities between his own discoveries, leading to a redundancy that would eventually cause a taxonomic collapse. By the turn of the century, independent researchers began to look closer at these two giants. In 1903, paleontologist Elmer Riggs published a landmark study that challenged Marsh's original classification. Riggs argued that the differences between Apatosaurus ajax and Brontosaurus excelsus were merely those of species within the same genus, and since Apatosaurus was named first, it held priority. Scientifically, Brontosaurus ceased to exist, relegated to a junior synonym of Apatosaurus. Yet the public and cultural institutions were not ready to let go of the thunder lizard so easily. The name Brontosaurus had already become a pop culture juggernaut, appearing in early cinema, stamps, and museum halls, creating a massive gap between scientific reality and public perception. This disconnect was exacerbated by the fact that the most famous Apatosaurus mount in the world, the one at the American Museum of Natural History, was missing its true skull for decades. Marsh had originally topped his Brontosaurus skeleton with a skull found miles away, which later proved to belong to a different dinosaur entirely, the boxy-headed Camarasaurus. For nearly 80 years, the world envisioned the Apatosaurus as a blunt-faced titan, when in reality it possessed a long, slender skull more akin to that of its cousin, Diplodocus. It wasn't until the late 1970s that paleontologists Jack McIntosh and David Berman finally corrected the record, proving that the true head of Apatosaurus had been sitting in storage elsewhere. The discovery of the correct skull was a turning point, but the saga of Apatosaurus ajax was far from over. Science is a self-correcting process, and new technologies were about to reignite the debate. In 2015, a massive 5-year study using sophisticated statistical analysis of sauropod anatomy was published, shaking the foundations of dinosaur nomenclature once again. A team of researchers led by Emmanuel Chop conducted a specimen-level analysis, examining hundreds of individual anatomical traits across dozens of skeletons in the Diplodocidae family. The results were stunning. The study found that the original Brontosaurus excelsus specimens were distinct enough from Apatosaurus ajax to justify being their own separate genus after all. The primary differences were found in the neck. Brontosaurus had a higher, narrower neck structure compared to the broader, more robust neck of the Apatosaurus. This scientific resurrection of Brontosaurus made headlines worldwide, but it also served to highlight just how unique and formidable Apatosaurus ajax truly was on its own merit. Apatosaurus ajax remains the type species of the genus, a massive herbivore that lived approximately 152 million years ago during the late Jurassic period. It was a creature of immense proportions, reaching lengths of up to 75 feet and weighing as much as 20 tons, making it one of the largest animals to ever walk the earth. The anatomy of Apatosaurus ajax was a marvel of biological engineering, featuring a whip-like tail that could likely break the sound barrier when swung with sufficient force. This tail served as a formidable defense against predators like Allosaurus, the lion of the Jurassic, which haunted the same landscapes in search of vulnerable prey. But the deception of Apatosaurus isn't just in its bones, it's in the way its massive weight was managed through a system of air-filled pockets within its vertebrae. These pleuroseals reduced the weight of the skeleton without sacrificing structural integrity, a necessary adaptation for an animal that needed to move its long neck with precision. To fuel such a massive body, Apatosaurus ajax likely spent the majority of its day feeding, consuming hundreds of pounds of vegetation to maintain its metabolism. Its digestive system was essentially a giant fermentation vat, using gastroliths, swallowed stones, to help grind down the tough, fibrous plant material found in its environment. Despite its fame, much about Apatosaurus ajax is still being discovered. Every new fossil find provides a piece of the puzzle, refining our understanding of its growth and behavior. We now know that these animals grew at an incredible rate, reaching near adult size in less than 20 years, a pace comparable to modern large mammals. The story of Apatosaurus ajax is a testament to the messy, non-linear nature of science, where names and classifications can change as our tools for observation improve. It reminds us that the labels we give to the natural world are often just temporary placeholders, waiting for the next discovery to provide a deeper level of truth. Even the name Ajax has a story, likely referring to the hero of Greek mythology, symbolizing the strength and stature of this incredible Jurassic giant. The rivalry between marsh and cope, though bitter and destructive, ultimately provided the foundation for American paleontology and the discovery of our most iconic dinosaurs. Without their frantic race, Apatosaurus might have remained hidden in the Colorado rock for decades more, its deceptive bones never reaching the light of day. Today, Apatosaurus ajax stands as a pillar of paleontology, a creature that survived the extinction of its kind only to face a second survival in the annals of science. It is a dinosaur that represents both the grandeur of the deep past and the fallibility of human ego, a giant born from the dust of the bone wars. The confusion between Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus will likely persist in the public mind, but for those who look closer, the distinction reveals a richer story of evolution. As we continue to explore the Morrison Formation and beyond, we are reminded that the Earth still holds secrets that can overturn a century of established thought. The deceptive lizard has finally been unmasked, revealing an animal more complex and majestic than O.C. Marsh could have ever imagined in his wildest dreams. In the end, the truth behind the name Apatosaurus ajax is a journey of discovery, a path paved with bones, rivalry, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. It is a story that proves science is not a static collection of facts, but a living, breathing exploration of the wonders that once ruled our planet. As we look up at these titans in our museums, we don't just see skeletons, we see the echoes of a lost world, finally finding its rightful place in history.